We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our ever-growing channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. And if you want to support this channel through a donation, super chat, we'll get you a comment right away. Hit that $sign, make a comment just like John Teal just did. Welcome into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway in Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to be a PATC legend. In the comments section, or with your phone calls later in the show. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you, John Teal. San Diego State needs a coach. David Shaw, maybe. John Teal is heavy on the David Shaw. In fact, I believe that John Teal might be David Shaw's agent. It could be. It could be. Thank you, John, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Appreciate your continued generosity to this channel. We also we started this on Saturday. We are very excited here at Peek Around the Corner. Now, we always said this is the rebel outpost of college football. We provide that just a little bit of extra content to get you through the days, to get you through the nights, extra college football content. Now we're providing extra college football content. An early peek. We're going to be providing early peek episodes for members. It's called Early Peek Membership. These videos, we're going to be talking about recruiting. We're going to be talking about stadium renovations. We're going to be talking about the FCS playoffs. The seedings have come up. We're going to be talking about things that we don't quite get to on the big live shows or in our episodes. Nothing is changing on this channel. Live shows, episodes, watch parties, but we're also going to be providing early peek episodes. Members only. They're also going to be providing a little bit of nugget of info before, not at times. We're going to be able to provide a little bit of nugget, a little bit of info before everybody else gets it on early peak episodes. Membership, monthly membership. So if you want to join, hit the join button. You're going to see it. You might have to go back out, come back in, hit the join button. And that's another way to support this channel. I'm very excited. I've already got like my first 5 shows, all 5 early peak episodes all lined up. So if you're interested, join early peak membership at college football's peak around the corner. Okay, we've got a lot to get to. Sunday afternoon, the aftermath of college football this weekend. The biggest story. The biggest story is Florida State loses its leader, Jordan Travis. Devastating lower leg injury. You've seen it. It hurts. I cannot stand injuries as it is. I cannot stand injuries. Every time, not every time, but a lot of times on a Saturday when I'm watching college football, I see an injury and I put up a post. Don't want to see that. Brooks, the great running back of Texas, he got injured. It's devastating. It's absolutely devastating. Mostly to the young man, Jordan Travis. So we at Peek Around the Corner, we are praying for the young man. A minor setback for a major comeback for Jordan Travis, Florida State. That's the number one concern that we have. Himself, his loved ones, his family. He's got a great future ahead of him. He's going to make a great comeback. Jordan Travis leading his Florida State team to the ACC championship game. I know the Seminoles fans are devastated. It's tough. It's tough. The quarterback, let's take a look. Rodemacher. Let's just take a look here. Tate Rodemacher, 13 of 23, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looked pretty good right away at the beginning of the game. It looked like the action, even though it was against North Alabama, live bolus and all, looked like the action may have been a little bit too fast for him. But he made some good plays out of the pocket, ran for a first down, got his juices flowing. And Trey Benson got nicked up as well. So can Tate Rodemacher, can he lead the Florida State Seminoles to the ACC championship game? Can he do it? We've seen in the AP polls. Florida State was dropped to number 5. Washington Huskies at number 4. And I can understand that. And I'm thinking that the playoff committee is going to do the same thing. Tuesday night, we're going to see Florida State drop. But if they can beat Louisville, if they go undefeated, I still think they have a spot in the college football playoffs. But the injury is going to resonate with the voters. The voters in the AP, which in the long run, they don't matter. But the voters in the select committee, the playoff committee, it's going to matter. So hopefully Florida State can bounce back. Man, it is absolutely devastating. Thank you, John Teal. Thank you so much for the membership. I appreciate it very, very much. John Teal is a new member to the early peak. And again, you're going to be getting videos, membership only, and it's going to be covering things we cannot cover. It's an extra benefit, extra content. Appreciate it so very much. Jay Perlmutter, thank you so very much as well. Thank you for the early peak membership. Jay, UCLA defeats USC. They were ready to play. Now what happens to Chip Kelly? I think they're 7-4. Does Chip Kelly survive? Does he survive Monday? Does he survive Tuesday? Jay, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you've heard anything. The only thing I can say is Chip Kelly and the donors, the money purchasers, do not get along. They don't get along. I mean, it's ice cold relationship. It's not even a relationship. That's the number one issue that Chip Kelly has as the head coach of the UCLA Bruins. But let me know, Jay, what are you thinking? What are you thinking down in UCLA land? The Bruins defeat USC. USC finishes 7-5. Okay. So Jordan Travis, devastating injury. There is an example of a quarterback. Major injury, but it's a minor setback for a major comeback. This is an example of that. Cameron Rising is coming back for the 2024 season. Utah quarterback Cam Rising announced he will return to school for the 2024 season. And Clearwater Revival song. Cameron Rising played that song in his video. I cannot play it. I'll get a copyright strike. But maybe I'll do an old rendition of it. An a cappella rendition of Old Moon Rising. We shall see. I think I'd probably butcher that song in a way that maybe I can't even attempt to do it. But maybe I'll give it a shot. We'll see. Cam Rising coming back. He's been out this year. Utah, first year in the Big 12, and they get their leader back. They get their leader back. Now, there's a couple more. Little bit of information we got to get to. Then we're going to get to another big story. Besides Jordan Travis, the injury, Florida State's quarterback. We're going to go through, Georgia rolled, Ohio State rolled, Michigan, tough game, but they did what they needed to do. Washington won a very tough game against Oregon State. Stopped them 22-20. Oregon State, DJ Ugo-Angle. 4 down, didn't get it done. Washington survives. Great game. Washington and Washington State. A big announcement that the Apple Cup has been renewed since 2028. That's great news for college football fans. Great news for Washington State. I'm wondering what Washington Husky fans are thinking about it. I wonder if Washington fans, the Husky fans are excited as we are, people outside of the state of Washington. I know Washington Husky fans are feeling really good about themselves, and they should. They're this close away, this close from getting to the college football playoffs. This close. They're feeling good, but they're going into the Big Ten. Schedule's going to be challenging for everybody, even Washington. And having a non-conference game, they're going to want to play a non-conference game against a decent Power 5 school outside of the Apple Cup. So now they're going to have, wow, what a schedule. What a daunting schedule for the University of Washington in the next 4 or 5 years. But then again, they're not going to have any problem selling tickets, Washington. It's going to be big time at Washington. So I want to get your comments on that. Ted Evans, thank you so much for the new membership. Jay Pure Mutter and John, appreciate it. Ted Evans, definitely excited. Apple Cup is a big deal out here in the Northwest. So that's one Washington Husky fan that is supporting this move. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. It is great news for the college football fans. There's also some other news that we have to talk about. On one end of the spectrum, Brett McMurphy tweets out Dino Babers has been fired after 8 seasons at Syracuse. Source told Action Network, Babers was 41-55 with 2 winning seasons in 8 years. Dino Babers has been fired. Now, no offense to the Orange, no offense to the fan base, but that's a tough job. Most jobs in the Power 5, in the Autonomy 4, whatever you want to call it, are tough jobs. Syracuse is one of many. But that is a tough, tough job. You know who hired Dino Babers? Mark Coyle. A couple years later, or 1 year later, I should say, Mark Coyle hired PJ Fleck, Minnesota. Dino Babers has been there for a long time, 8 seasons. Now, one of the things is it's a tough job. However, it is in an Autonomy 4 conference. You do play on, ESPN or the family of ESPN networks. And one other factor that Syracuse, they have a history of hanging on to their coaches, which maybe the Orange fan base do not like at times. But coaches are looking at the opportunity, an opportunity to get a job. They are interested in going for a job that has a history of keeping the guy there for a long time. So that's one positive about Dino Babers being the new head coach of the Syracuse Orange. That's one positive thing that Syracuse can sell, the next head coach. Now, I've seen names as Tony White, the defensive coordinator of Nebraska. Of course, I've seen Jason Candle, the coach of Toledo. Can you hold on 1 second? Everybody hang on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so that's one. Now the other extreme is Sam Pittman is going to remain the head coach of Arkansas. The athletic director confirms Razorback coach will be back in 2024. So Sam Pittman's has been on a lot of hot board seats. Not any longer. His seat is no longer hot for this year. He will be back. So Sam Pittman is gone. Dino Babers is gone. Pittman is staying. So there is some movement. So carousel has only just begun. And remember, there are important dates. December 4th, the transfer portal opens up. December 20th is the early signing period. So things that got to get moving here. We're already November 19th. November 19th, when the portal opens up on December 20th, these athletic directors want their head coaches in place. The calendar has moved up on this stuff. Everything goes a lot quicker than the years before. It's one of those things that we got to get used to. The carousel is going to quickly spin, and it's picking up speed right now. I want to thank everybody for coming on in before we get to another big story. NBC and Notre Dame. Ryan Brooks is in the house. Now, Ryan, I know you're saying that your membership shows up on PC but not on the phone. Do you have more than one YouTube login? That could be a factor as well. I'm just bringing that possibility up. John Bennett, thanks for coming on in. Tony, Stephen McNeely, Big Lubbock, Jared Jones, Tim Bailey's, Don in Kansas is in the house. PNWTE's in the house. Jesse, David Griffin. The Beavers could knock Oregon out this coming weekend. It could. J-Rod is surprised about Pittman. Jared Jones, is Oregon going to keep the Civil War game going on with Oregon State? I have not heard any official word on that. Laura Weiss, the Texas Tech Red Raider, is in the house. Okay. Now, thanks for everybody for coming on in. We're going to get to the Notre Dame NBC story. It broke yesterday afternoon. The Athletic, it was Brett McMurphy broke it first. Then everybody picked up on it. NBC, Notre Dame have announced an extension of their broadcast rights partnership through 2029. It helps ensure independence, and that is so important to us, Notre Dame, Jack Swarbrick said. Couple points I want to make here. First of all, Jack Swarbrick, in his little interview that he had with NBC, he says, this is great. Our partnership with NBC, we value that. I'm paraphrasing, of course. We love our independence. We get to keep our independence for now. All that is important. He also said in that interview, realignment is not over. It's going to continue on. A couple months ago, we at Peek Around the Corner reported that the NBC and Notre Dame talks were lukewarm at best. Now, something changed. 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, November 6th, we did a live show. We talked about how the odds of the SEC being able to do a clean sweep, not being able to eat first, second, and possibly third and fourth if they want to at the ACC table has gone up. The odds have gone up. Sankey went into the Holy Smokes Theater for the very first time. ESPN went into the Holy Smokes Theater for the very first time and sat in front of Notre Dame. So did Fox. For the very first time. They become more and more aggressive. We also reported to you in the last 3 weeks that the Florida State Money Perch said that the odds are now about 80% Florida State. When they do make their realignment, when they do make their move, Florida State's going to the SEC. We reported that to you. We also been talking about how Clemson has become incredibly aggressive. We talked about at least 2 hot bubble of actions going on with Clemson. And I can't get into any more details than that. And now we hear that NBC and Notre Dame has struck a deal. Which, looking back 3 weeks ago, it looks like that possibly could have been a leading indicator of why all this other stuff was going on. Why is Florida State now 80% chance, according to not just one, but a couple Florida State money perch of going to the SEC and the Big Ten? Doesn't look like that's going to happen. Why does it look like the SEC, that's we reported November 6th, have a better chance than ever to do a clean sweep for them to eat first, eat second, eat third? That only happens if Notre Dame cannot get out of the gate first. If they choose not to get out of the gate first, to get out of the ACC first. And look what just happened. Notre Dame signs a deal with NBC. It is more difficult. Hey, look, there's a whole lot of chatter going on. Swarbrick's brought it up again yesterday in an interview with NBC. More realignment's coming. We're trying to brace you all for it. We're trying to give you the best information, the earliest information, the peek around the corner as best we can. Nothing is determined at this point. However, it is more difficult. I'm not saying impossible. We're not going to say impossible at peek around the corner. But it's more difficult to see than ever how the Big Ten eats at the ACC table first. It's become apparent that, look, if you don't have Notre Dame breaking out first, if you do not have Notre Dame making it easier for those other schools to have options, if in the first quarter 2024, I'm not promising you this is how it's going to play out, even though there's a whole lot of chatter, and some of it obviously contradicts each other. But if you have a Florida State and Clemson following one after the other, making an announcement of their intentions to leave the conference, it is a lot easier pathway for those schools to get in the SEC than the Big Ten. Because at some point, ESPN, at some point, even if it's a settlement, or even if it's the breaking of the gore, that would take a couple years anyways, or many years. At some point, ESPN has to join that conversation. Or let's say at least it makes it a whole lot easier on an already incredible, difficult task for Florida State and Clemson. The option of SEC and the Big Ten, that Big Ten option is less today than it was yesterday. It's less today than it was a week ago, like we reported. It's less today than 2 weeks ago. It's less today than 3 weeks ago. When we first started reporting this change in the Holy Smokes Theater. And now you're seeing NBC and Notre Dame sign. They've got the deal done. We do not know what the numbers were. I did put out a tweet. I thought it was $60 million. That is incorrect. I don't know what the numbers is. Could be $50 million. Whatever the number is, it satisfied Notre Dame. It satisfied NBC. The title of this show, along with Florida State losing its leader, is the SEC is now in the catbird seat for the next wave of realignment. But you know what? We reported that on November 6th. Now we're seeing more evidence of that. Let me get to something real quick here. Derek Marie, I appreciate your membership. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for your generosity. Again, We've started the early peak membership. Early peak membership, it's going to be episodes. We're not changing. We're not eliminating anything we do. We're still going to be doing live shows, watch parties, and episodes. But for memberships, we are starting the early peak. In this early peak videos, episodes, we're going to be giving you a little bit of information that we get once in a while. As you all know, you're going to get the early peak of it, not all of it. Sometimes we give out information on a live show because we just got it, whatever. But we're also going to be talking about everything else under the sun. We're going to be talking about FCS playoffs, the South Dakota State just got the #1 ranking. I'm going to be doing an episode on all that. Stadium renovations, recruiting, things that we don't have time to talk about in our live shows and our episodes that we do now. So, as you know, College Football YouTube channel, we try to, here at Peek Around the Corner, give you a little bit of extra content to get you through the days, to get you through the nights. College football content. Early peak is we're giving you that extra college football content. I'm so excited. We have the room. We have the time to do this now because there's changes in our family. Unfortunately, we buried my father September 12th. The wife knows I've been excited about this project. I want to cover more. And in doing so, we're going to open up this early peak membership. It's a way for people to support this channel. Donations, super chats, of course, supersedes everything else. We'll get to your comment as soon as possible. But membership comments, we'll get to you as we can. And then non-membership comments, we'll do the best we can to get to those comments. On our live shows, it becomes so big, and we're so fortunate. We're so thankful. It's hard for me to figure out which comment I should go to next. So it's super chat, membership, non-membership. But of course, non-membership, great comments. I'm going to get to those as well. And of course, the phone calls, it's all wide open for everybody. And again, we will figure out a way. I know YouTube provides a way for people to buy memberships, gift memberships for other people who might not be able to afford them. It's $5.99 a month. It's just one level. We're not going to do 3 levels, 2 levels. We're doing 1 level, early peak episodes, and we're all jacked up. I'm all excited about it. Okay. So thank you, Derek Marie. I appreciate it. Appreciate it so very much. He has risen. Thank you, PNW Ute. He's risen again. Cam Rising. Thank you for the super chat. Great news. Great news for the Utah Utes. Fantastic. Oh my God. Great news. It's so what does that mean for the Big 12 next year? How are you going to rank those schools? How are you going to rank those 16 schools? With Cam Rising coming back. I think you got to get you. I think you have to put Utah number 1. It's going to be very interesting. Arizona, Jed Fish, what is going on there? Holy smokes. Man, has he got that program rocking and rolling. Anyways, thank you so very much, PNWU. I appreciate it. Carson, does the NBC deal lock them into the ACC? No, not into the ACC. Thank you so much for the super chat. They're not in the ACC when it comes to football. They're independents. Are you talking about all the other sports? They're not really truly locked in. They're not even truly locked in with this TV deal when it comes to independence, but they're most likely they're going to be independent until at least 2029. Their NBC contract runs out at the same time the Big Ten TV deal finishes up. What does that mean? If it means anything at all, I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people are speculating, but I don't know. It doesn't, at some point, if the ACC implodes and the value of having that TV schedule, the 5 ACC opponents, if that drops for Notre Dame, could Notre Dame still fold into the Big Ten before 2029? I suppose yes, but the chances have dropped significantly, in my opinion. How much is that media deal? I don't know. Someday we're going to find out. I think we're going to find out. Notre Dame is a private school, so we don't really know how much they make in their athletic department. They had a $22 million deal with NBC. They've at least doubled it. So is it 44? Is it 50 million? Plus they get about 10, 12 million from the ACC network. That puts them pretty close enough with the Big Ten. One of those things, one of the issues we got to look at though, if revenue sharing comes down in the next couple of years, I got a feeling that it's not going to be just direct revenue with the school and the student athletes. I got a feeling that the conference is going to be a part in that as well. And that, I don't know how Notre Dame is going to keep up with the Big Ten and with the SEC when it comes to revenue sharing, if the Big Ten and SEC are providing revenues to the student athletes across the conference. And they may do that for more than one reason. But one of the reasons it gives the SEC and the Big Ten and whatever conference that does it, it gives them a student athlete buy-in when it comes to the guardrails and other things that those conferences are going to set up. I'm going deep in a rabbit hole on this, but don't know what Notre Dame's going to do with that change in world. The change in world, the walls, I believe, are still closing, but Notre Dame looks like they got a media deal good enough to keep football independence. Thank you so much, Carson, for your generosity. You super chat. Cameron B, Kansas is winning the Big 12 next year. Book it. Your quarterback, Jaylon Daniels, is coming back next year. So that's also big news. Thank you, Cameron B, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Kansas winning the Big 12 next year? Could be. I think Lance Leipold is coming back next year. But every time that carousel spins, especially around in the Midwest, Lance Leipold's name is always going to come up in the coaching carousel. Always. Until he retires. But I think Kansas is going to keep him, at least for a little bit longer. I really do think him and his wife want to stay in Lawrence. Jerry Kill to Syracuse. Wow. Holy smoke. Wow. Whew. I wonder. I don't know. I don't know if Jerry Kill's going to get an opportunity to get back to autonomy 4 job. I don't think he's going to. There is still, unfortunately, health concerns, stress, going up to New York. I know Syracuse is not a football I know it's not that stressful of a football job. It's a tough job, but the lights are not shining on the head football coach like they do on the basketball coach. I don't know if Syracuse would take that risk. And I don't know if Jerry Kill would take the risk. That's interesting, though. Jerry Kill has been... What he has done in New Mexico State, he has done everywhere else he's ever been. So, interesting question. Great comment. Great comment. Now, let's get to... And then we're going to open up the phone lines. We're going to open up the phone lines. I apologize for the long... Okay, now this ain't working. Hold on, everybody. There we go. Okay. We're just going to post the top AP 25 here. The new one that came out today, again, this is not the playoff committee, but it gives you a sense of where voters are looking at, and the playoff committee somewhat follows the same script, not quite. You see New Mexico State got 3 votes here. What an unbelievable job by Jerry Kill. First year New Mexico State's been in the Conference USA. What a fantastic, fantastic year. North Carolina State is almost back in the top 25. Coming on a little bit. Tennessee drops 4 spots. Don't quite know how they're number 25. James Madison. Ugh! They lose to Appalachian State. Big upset. They drop to 24. Toledo. The Rockets. Jason Candle. He's going to be on everybody's hot board list. All across the Midwest, at least. Liberty, 11-0. Now, if this was the college football playoff, the expanded playoffs, we would all be watching Toledo in the MAC Conference Championship game. We'd be watching Liberty versus New Mexico State in the Conference USA Championship game. We'd all be debating, should Toledo be ahead of Liberty? Toledo lost a crazy wild game against Illinois when Illinois threw up a prayer pass and it worked out for the Fighting Illini. We'd be debating this. It would be a big debate. We'd be watching this. We'd be watching, keeping an eye on Conference USA and the MAC and the Sun Belt. Oklahoma State, they go up 3 spots. Iowa's at number 20. They beat Illinois 15-13. Kansas State 19. Tulane, of course, we'll be watching them as well. American Athletic Conference. Right now, they would get the spot. Notre Dame 17. Arizona 16. Oregon State lose a tough game. They're at 15. LSU. Jaden Daniels having a great year as quarterback. Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think those are your top 4 for the Heisman, and I would have Marvin Harrison Jr. number 1. Ole Miss, Penn State, Missouri, Cody Schrader, Brady Cook, Luther. I'll tell you what, Missouri's going to have a good team next year again. Louisville, number 9, unbelievable season. Alabama 8, Texas 7, Oregon 6, Florida State drops. Washington goes up, number 4. Michigan drops 3, Buckeyes, and the Bulldogs. So if you want to give us a call, make some comments. Yep, Traylor has already interviewed for the Texas A&M Aggies. Jamie Chatwell, I've got him pegged at the Mississippi State's new coach. Jamie Chadwell. Ooh, Toledo's only good because of the quarterback. Jason Candle's been delivering the goods for more than just this year. And he's the guy who recruited the quarterback. He's the guy who develops the quarterback. I do see a lot of negative Jason Candle comments out there. I don't know where that's coming from, but thank you, Son of Sarek, for the comment. Richard L., thank you so much. Thank you so much for your membership. Appreciate it. Colorado, Buffalo, Richard L., early peak membership. Again, we started our early peak membership. Videos, membership only, extra content. We're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about things I have not been able to get to in our live shows, in our episodes, in our watch party shows. I'm all jacked up about it. I'm all jacked up. Again, early peak. Okay, let's get to the phone calls. Let's open it up at least. Let's open it up Sunday afternoon. Thanks for all joining. Thanks to you all for joining us today. I appreciate it so very much. Sunday afternoon. I think this is going to be a busy week. Very busy week. I think we're going to get, Monday could be another busy day for coaches. Couple coaches I'm looking at. So we're going to keep an eye on it. The big one is Chip Kelly. If you go by wins and losses, maybe he shouldn't get let go. But he has an icy relationship with the donors, and that's important. Also, Tom Allen of Indiana. He's got a $20 million buyout, but Monday is also a day. Tomorrow I'm looking at the Tom Allen situation at Indiana. That's what I was hoping for, John. That's the type of emotion I was trying to get. Membership music is like being knighted. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it, John. Again, for those who are not interested in the membership, nothing is changing. Live shows, same. Watch parties, same. Episodes, same. This is an extra episode. We may drop, we will drop. Some information just a little bit early. And then later we'll talk about it on the live show. And then we're going to be talking about other things on the early peak show. Recruiting is a big one. Stadium renovations is a big one. FCS is a big one. We're going to be taking stories that are being told in other places. We'll call it Gossip Center, and we'll just bring it out and speculate it on these episodes. Things that I haven't touched on all these other shows, things that I cannot confirm and will not confirm. It's going to be a different type of show. So for those who are not interested in early peak membership, what you're getting is not changing. We're just expanding. We have the time now. We have the resources because of your generous donation over the last 2 years. And again, donations, super chats, always supersede in the comments. You guys know how it's done. In the chat, it's super chats, then it's membership, and then it's non-membership. For people who are not members, nothing is changing. You can call us. I'm going to get to your comments once in a while, and what you're getting in content is not going to change. I'm just adding on. That's all I'm doing. I hope people understand. I'm really excited about it. Ryan Brooks, again, anyways, it don't matter. I'm glad you're a member once again. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Mr. Ryan Brooks. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get back to your comments. And again, the phone lines are now open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Just trying to catch up here. Yeah, that is a problem. UCLA pro tip, don't chip at the hand that feeds you. The relationship between Chip Kelly and his donors, we talked about it last year during the 2022 season here at Peek Around the Corner. This is known. This has been known for a long time. Chip Kelly does not play nice with the donors. In this day and age of NIL, man, you got to be a great politician. You've got to give time, comfort to your donor base more than ever. I think Chip Kelly, he probably isn't going to want to do this, but I think Chip Kelly's may have to get back to being an offensive coordinator, just the offensive coordinator at a big time school. If he doesn't want to mess with the other things that you need to do outside the head coach's office, and that is to build the relationship with your NIL collectives, build a relationship with your sponsors, build a relationship with your charities, because charities are connected to your donors. There's a whole bunch of things you got to do now as a head coach you haven't had to do before. I'm not sure Chip Kelly's cut out. It's not like they're having a bad year, because they're not.
Call from
Immaculate.
Immaculate is on the line. Mr. Hawkeye, congratulations on the Big Ten West Championship. Congratulations on going to the Big Ten Championship in Indianapolis. I hope you have a lot of fun, Hawkeye fans. And this is coming from a very bitter, very jealous. You know, jealousy is the most difficult emotion to hide. I cannot hide it. So I'm bitter, I'm jealous. To the Hawkeye fans, congratulations. Immaculate, you have the floor.
I mean, you know, the West thing we kind of fell into, but I do understand why you might be mad that we have a Heisman candidate.
Oh, yeah, you're punter. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well, you only listed the number 4, the 1 through 4, and 5 guys are going, and the other one is going to be a punter, so.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we'll put him as number 5.
Yeah. I found it interesting that, you know, I actually wanted to call in about the whole SEC, ACC relationship here.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
A lot of people have certain ideas. You know, they're all fair. It's all fair in this. We're all just theorizing, so it's all good. People disagree, but there are certain things, folks, you got to take into account when you're doing this, and those things are immutable. And that's such things as when, you know, North Carolina Board of Governors comes out and says all plans for all realignment have to go through them in the future. If your realignment plan includes North Carolina going to either the Big Ten or the SEC, and then the NC State going to either the Big 12 or staying in the ACC behind, you might as well just scratch that off the list. They're not going to allow it.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, but you don't put out that big public statement without, you know, putting it out there saying, don't even come to us with this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's interesting that some folks are saying that the SEC would just take a clean sweep of all 6 in order to block the Big Ten from even getting down into North Carolina and Virginia. Now, I have my doubts about that just because it's a movement of 6, and that's very not SEC-like. But, I mean, in this type of a situation, if you're really trying to block the Big Ten, I guess I get it. But as some others say, that doesn't block them. They still go with Georgia Tech and Miami if they really, truly want to. I mean, that's a spot in Georgia and a spot in Miami. That's about as good as it gets in the South. I mean, Georgia is now pretty much on recruiting on par with the likes of California and Florida and maybe even Texas.
Yeah.
So, when folks are thinking that, it's just going to be Florida State, Clemson, UNC, and Virginia to the SEC, and that's it, too bad. If this conference doesn't take anything but flagships. Look, conference commissioners say things leading up to this. There's movement, there's jockeying, there's, what did they say about Texas and Oklahoma in the past? Oh, we're not interested in any more expansion. We're not doing any more. Boom, it gets announced. So they don't always necessarily say what they fully mean or intend. But do you think that the SEC would take 6 schools all by themselves? Because that would get approved by both Virginia and North Carolina legislatures, agencies, AGs, and whatnot. Do you think the SEC would go that far to block the Big Ten?
I don't know. I don't know if I think I don't know. I mean, to me, the SEC could just stop at eating 2 dinners and not even go to the 3rd or 4th dinner. It could be 1 or 2, or it could be 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think there's any way the SEC would take all 6.
Yeah.
So your question is, would they take the Virginia, North Carolina, and then go through all the ramifications of the Virginia Attorney General and North Carolina State? They probably, that's up, so that's kind of up to North Carolina and Virginia, right? If the SEC, if they get into this discussion where, again, we're just speculating, but North Carolina, Virginia is going, okay, we're going to get out of the ACC. SEC, are you interested? SEC says yes. You got to find a way, to settle with the ACC. ESPN will pony up enough interest money for you guys, whatever that is, however that works. That mostly is up to North Carolina, Virginia, how they could separate from those 2 schools. But I think the SEC would say, yes, we'll take you if you can separate yourself from those 2 schools.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with that. But that's the hard part, because you're talking about a difference here in the future of the whole magnitude. I mean, you're talking 30-some million in the Big 12. They're looking at 40-some million in the ACC, but that's going to go down if this all happens. So, and the SEC Big 10 are upwards looking around like 60. I mean, that's double. Are they going to sign off on, okay, North Carolina, you can go there, and hey, if North Carolina State, if the Big 10 calls, you can go there. Yeah, we know you're going to be making half. But, I mean, that kind of seems to be going against the idea of them even getting involved at all. Like, what's the point of them even coming out and saying we're going to be involved if they would allow that to happen, because that could just happen without their involvement? Like, what else would these schools be doing? Oh, we think we're going to go join Conference USA? I mean,
yeah.
For them to say that, it basically means we're not going to let North Carolina go and leave North Carolina State in this situation, because that's all they care about. They don't care about Wake. They don't care about Duke.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a great points. The thing about Notre Dame signing the deal with NBC is for the Big Ten, for now, obviously, it would have been best for Florida State and Clemson and North Carolina, Virginia to have Notre Dame not do what they just did. Okay? Because more options, more leverage, right? Notre Dame, at this point, taking themselves out of the realignment wave that could potentially happen. Notre Dame was the component that would have greased the skids for Big Ten expansion. The Big Ten at a point was only willing, Fox Sports was only willing to pay so much for Washington and Oregon. Just enough for them to accept to get into the Big Ten.
Right.
Florida State.
But could that mean? Could that also mean that because they could that have been the case? Not because they're out of money, but because they've got this other money budgeted to go somewhere else, and Washington and Oregon had to be grabbed early because the Pac breakup happened early.
Yes.
I don't think that. Oh, this is all the money they have left because they gave it to Washington and Oregon. But we had Petiti come out and say, "Oh, this wasn't a surprise that they ended up with us. It just came early." And he was talking about like how Colorado went early. But what he was inferring was that caused them to have to move on Washington and Oregon early.
Yes.
So you see, just because they got that little bit, that could also be because they had to save enough money for something else that's earlier in the plan. If Washington and Oregon was planned out for the future, then that means there was something else that was supposed to come before them. That's what that means. Otherwise, if that's your next moves that you're looking to do anyways, then who cares? But if you had to go on them earlier than you meant, then it means there's something else in the plan in between USC, UCLA, and Washington and Oregon. And so I think that there's money there. And the reason why Oregon and Washington got so little is because there's something else on the docket first, and that has to be able to get big pay. And that's where I say, yes, Notre Dame is part of that, but they make that easy. Mm-hmm. I'd say that there's money even there. If that doesn't work, because there's no way to say that Notre Dame for sure is going to join. I mean, that was a toss-up either way. Like, are they going to want to, or are they going to not want to? And that's where I think like a Virginia-North Carolina combo, or, some other combo, FSU, GT, something, there would have been money set aside to be able to act on that should this break free. That's my thoughts on that, is that the Washington money doesn't refute another move because Petiti made it clear that move was supposed to happen later. So, I don't know, just my thoughts there.
Yep, I understood. Yep.
So, I know SEC folks, man, they get very into this and they don't want to see anything that they consider to be a Southern brand to go to the Big Ten. I get it. You got to protect your turf. That's what the SEC is built on, is being a regional conference going forward. It's going to be the only one. So I get it. But at the same time, there's you can't just take the rah-rah, full-on ideal scenario and say, this is what we're going to get. This is what's going to end up being. Sankey has said this in the past. That doesn't matter. Like, even you're saying here, the SEC's position has changed, right?
Yeah.
It's changed. So folks got to be able to be a little malleable in their thinking.
Yeah.
And to think that you just be like, oh, we're only taking flagship institutions. Okay, then sit there and do nothing. And as soon as it's feasible, the Big Ten is going to come in there and take Florida State. We're going to get Tallahassee. It's going to be in your backyard everywhere, and North Carolina, and probably Virginia too, because at a point in time, whenever that happens way down the road, the difficulty of getting out of the ACC will be much less. Talk maybe like 2030.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of a looming threat. 2029, 2030 is now that looming threat. And like you're saying, Notre Dame stepped out of the way and said, stop looking at it as Big Ten. Go handle your business. Because Florida is saying more realignment's coming. Now, he did not go, I think more realignment's coming, but, he was definitive. Like, we're stepping out of the way, more realignment's coming. And
he said, Jack Swarbrick said that before USC made the move. He said that in April. Jack Swarbrick said that in April 2022. We had it at Flag Empire. We had put out March 31st that USC called the Big Ten. And then in April, Jack Swarbrick said there's realignment coming. He says he just said Saturday in the NBC, realignment's coming. So what? No, I not only did Immaculate, from my perspective, not only did Notre Dame kind of say, okay, Big Ten, quit looking at us right now, but Notre Dame also said to Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, quit looking at us right now to break it open. But I think because of what we've heard and what we reported on November 6th in the last 3 weeks, I think they kind of knew that. I think they kind of figured out that they were the ones that were going to have to break it, because that's why they're becoming more aggressive. That's the chatter, and that's what we've been saying in the Holy Smokes Theater. So,
yeah, they're kind of preparing for it, but this was the definitive, go. And maybe Notre Dame and NBC were just kind of going back and forth, but not really feeling too rushed about it. And then maybe, you've been reporting some things. Maybe there's some truth to that, and maybe Notre Dame saw it and decided, you know what, NBC, we'll take that deal. Maybe NBC had given them a number like $50 million, $55 million, and said we can't go above this. And then that Notre Dame heard some things from these schools, just like you did. I mean, if you could hear it, I'm pretty sure Swarbrick could hear it, and said, okay, you know what, NBC, we'll take that deal right now. Yeah, just something to think about. I'm not reporting that. I'm not saying that's true. But for that to happen and for him to be saying what he's saying, it kind of makes me think they pulled the trigger at a number that NBC wanted him at. Because originally they said 75. So if it's down at 50 to 55, that's probably what NBC came back at him with. And this is probably Notre Dame saying, we better get that now, because if this stuff starts coming out of you next month, that number might go down.
Yeah.
If NBC, and this is a business, if Florida State and Clemson come out and go, you know what, we're leaving the ACC, you're sitting there going, oh, we kind of would have liked you against those two. Maybe we'll pass.
Yeah, great point.
So I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, I unless the SEC is willing to go with 6, I don't think you can just come at us and say the SEC is only going to take such and such as our schools, because that doesn't solve the problem. The problem is keeping the Big Ten out of Florida State. So I'll leave it with that.
Okay.
Appreciate you, Greg.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Immaculate. Great call by Mr. Hawkeye. This WWE partner of the Big 12, WWE partnering with the SEC. I got to tell you, I'm not a WWE guy anyway, so I'm old enough. I'm from Minnesota. This was the AWA country. Nick Bockwinkel, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jesse Ventura, Kurt Hennig when he was young, Baron Von Raschke, Mad Dog Vachon, The Crusher from Milwaukee. Jim Brunzell, Greg Gagne. So I'm AWA, and then a little bit of NWA. So WWE, I never was a fan. Never. So, in fact, I watched more of that other one, the AEW, more than W. I'm not a WWE guy. Never was. Don't know why. Never. Anyways, I'm from Minnesota. Maybe I'm a little weird.
Call from
JD.
JD, the floor is yours, Mr. Seminoles, and I feel terrible for the Seminole fans, but Jordan Travis, a minor setback for a major comeback for that young man, but Florida, Rodmaker, is that his name? Is he the guy who's going to lead you now?
Rodmaker. So just say Rod, and then instead of the E, pronounce it like an A.
Okay.
And then Rodemaker.
Rodemaker.
Yeah, he played at Valdosta High School, one of the most successful high school programs in the country, and Jaheim Bell was actually his high school teammate.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, and just to make it easy, we all just call him Tate.
Tate? Okay.
Tate Rodemaker. But anyway, Tate's got a NFL arm. Tate came in when Jordan got hurt last year. Tate's the one who came in and beat Louisville at Louisville. So if he plays Louisville again this year, well, he's got experience with them.
Okay.
But he's got an NFL arm. Sometimes his pocket presence, he doesn't feel it, as far as he doesn't feel the pressure. Sometimes he'll make unwise decisions and maybe put the ball in jeopardy. So hearing some of the prognosticators are like, well, the passing game could actually potentially be better, but Jordan Travis is special.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. It's that's an unusually hurtful gut punch that everybody is feeling right now, because he's probably the most beloved Seminole maybe of all time, and I'm not going to lie. I mean, not including Bobby.
Yeah.
But the previous players, they love him. Everybody loves him, because when the program was down, yes, you got to give all the credit in the world to Mike Norvell and the administration and everything else. But Jordan was the player that put everybody on his shoulders. He there's a lot of wins that we wouldn't have gotten if he just didn't make a magical play. And the thing that really, it's the most devastating for the fan base, he didn't get his moment.
Yeah.
Everybody was looking forward to him having his moment, that they could really send him off and show their appreciation. Last night was going to be that night, and they didn't get it. It's almost like, yes, he's overwhelmed with messages, and he's doing Instagram messages letting everybody know he's okay. Now, he's in the hospital bed when he's talking to people.
I saw that. Yeah.
But it's like imagine it being somebody that you care deeply about, that you never get to talk to them one last time.
Yeah.
Or you never got to tell them how you really felt.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that sounds a little emotional or whatever.
No,
else,
I get you, man. I get you.
It's tough. It's the weirdest thing. You don't really realize how much you bonded with one player. And don't get me wrong, you bonded with all the players. It's like when Bobby passed away. I teared up. I mean, because it's just like I already missed him, and because he hadn't been coaching for years, but you knew that he was there. You knew that he was around. He'd still pop in, and you'd see interviews, or you'd hear him talk, and whatever else. And he was still around, but it's just, I mean, it's almost, Jordan's alive, and he's going to, be around a long, long time, probably much longer than I am. It's just, it was a gut punch is not even the proper characterization. It just isn't. And but it is what it is, and we got to move on. And I'm going to change the subject because anyway.
Yeah.
But the rankings. I don't care if we drop to 5. All I ask is we don't get our opportunities taken away from us because of injury.
Yeah.
If we win, still give us our opportunity to fight our way into the playoff. Is it going to be a harder road? Of course it is. Yeah. Is there a chance we lose this week? Yep. But if Jordan was playing, would we? No, we beat Florida and we beat Louisville.
Yeah.
But is it you know, I think we're going to be favored in both games. But, if I could tell you Tate's story, Tate's been around for a while, and he's had his good moments and bad moments. I think he's past the bad moments. He might have a iffy quarter in a game here or there. But is he capable? Yes, he's capable. He is. So let's just see if he does. And I wish the young man all the best in the world, and I hope he comes through. I really do.
Yeah.
As far as the realignment stuff, we're very convinced that the SEC is getting ready to make a power play. But how likely do you think it is that if the Big Ten really wants to get into the Southeast, do you think they step in and try to outbid the SEC?
Well, possibly. The problem is, it gets back to how is Florida. Well, we'll just focus on Florida State. How does Florida State get out of the ACC? If it's a settlement, with the ACC, and that's how they get out. Most people believe at some point ESPN is going to get into that conversation.
Sure.
So if ESPN is going to get in that conversation, it's a lot easier path for Florida State to get to the SEC than the Big Ten. Even if the Big Ten offers more than the SEC or offers more that Florida State wants, which may be whatever, right? Whatever. More national conference, international conference, whatever. Can Florida State even get to the Big Ten? That's the problem. That's, I've reported before, weeks ago, Florida State money perch. Now it's 80% chance. They figured about 8 out of every 10, Florida State's going to be going to the SEC, not the Big Ten. And now we have this NBC announcement with Notre Dame, which does not help Big Ten's ability to get a Florida State. It hurts. Things are going the SEC's way in the Holy Smokes Theater. That's now, is it a definite no? There's no chance? Of course not. I'm not going to say that because no one has really been able to lock down how this is going to play out in regards to Florida State or Clemson or North Carolina making this declaration that their intention is to leave the ACC. But the odds are stacking up in the SEC's favor. But is it impossible for the Big Ten? We're not going to say it's impossible, but the pathway to the SEC for Florida State is much easier.
Oh, I agree with that. I do. And one of the insiders was asked his opinion last week, and like I said, things have been really quiet. And I've reached out to some other people that they rub shoulders from time to time with decision makers. And they just said everybody's very tight-lipped. They're not talking at all. But and we've said that. But one of the people that is more inclined to speak here or there, they personally favored the SEC. They were asked their opinion and what they wanted, and they personally favored the SEC. But they kind of made a hint, and it wasn't an all-out suggestion, but I kind of took it as though a pretty, they were hinting to suggest that the Big might be willing to offer more. Mm-hmm. And FSU might take the better deal. I know and I've always heard that the Big was willing to offer more. I don't know if that means help cover the exit costs over time, or if that means they'll take them in sooner. I don't know what that means. But those that do have knowledge, they suggest that the deal would be potentially a lot sweeter with the big. But anyway, I think it comes back to, wanting to have exit partners, and people will disagree. I mean, we know that the composition clause is a real thing. It is a real thing. And ESPN has always put it in all their contracts. So I still think that the reason that a lot of these schools are waiting till they have at least 4 is because if they leave at the same time, in a relative period of time, that gives ESPN the right to renegotiate, which in essence voids the standing GOR. And I'm not going to get all into the weeds on all that today. Mm-hmm. And that's why you keep seeing 4 schools. And so I think that's been the plan the whole time. And that's what the wait is about. And that's why nothing was done last year. They were trying to get things together and get enough schools that are ready to make the jump. Either that or, you do have to, either that or they do negotiate a buyout. Of course, when you have hedge funds and the JP Morgans and all the rest of those that, what was the story before the season? Anyway, you say, well, that's how Florida State pays for their exit costs. Yeah, and that's also how other conferences that want Florida State to join funnel money into those type of accounts to help cover exit costs too. Mm-hmm. It's a two-way street. So I'm not suggesting that the Big is going to just write a $200 and some million check just to get Florida State, but there's ways to offset those costs over a period of time. But anyway, so
I get it.
I agree with you. I agree with you that the SEC is probably the most likely, but I think I was just kind of curious if you thought that the Big would make their own move once they knew these schools were available.
Well, is the Big Ten interested? Of course they are. But then again, we've been told that the Big Ten isn't going to offer. I know there's been people saying that the Florida State's been offered. They haven't been offered anything. Big Ten's not going to offer unless you can accept the deal. So can they have? They've been having indirect talks. We know this. We know that there's been indirect talks. There's been so much going on. There's been so much indirect talks, discussions. Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, they know where they stand with the Big Ten. They know where they stand with the SEC. They know where they stand. And yes, they are wanted. So they know where they stand. So they're not in a land of confusion. They know where they stand. The question is, what's the best way? How do you get out of the ACC? The pathway to getting out of the ACC is made a little bit easier if they go to the SEC. Does that mean that there's no way for them to go to the Big Ten? No, we're not saying that. And yes, you bring up a very good point. I mean, if there's some huge investment firm, fund ready to, write a huge check to the ACC, and they're dictating that Florida State should go to the Big Ten because they see more long-term money in the Big Ten 20, 30 years from now as Florida State pays back this firm after every t-shirt being sold, every ticket being sold, every sponsorship. If the investment firm gets a cut of everything, yes, then we could see Florida State to the Big Ten. I mean, there are ways for this to happen. All we can say is with Notre Dame being on the sideline, and without really knowing how Florida State is going to get this done to get out of the ACC, right now the odds favor the SEC. Other than that, we have a pretty good idea of, we've been told first quarter 2024, as you know, JD, and if we get more information, if it's information that we can divulge, then we'll go from there.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. It's and I'm gonna finish this up here, but anytime you hear about the Big is wanting to move into the Southeast, and that's the direction they want to go. I just don't see them sitting on their hands and just letting the SEC swoop in without at least putting up a fight. But again, I'm not in all those negotiations. They can say they want to move into the Southeast, but they may not feel like they have the power to outbid or out negotiate the SEC down here. I don't know. Just curious.
Yeah.
More or less picking your brain about other things. If you're hearing other things, and so you're pretty much answering those questions. But anyway, all right. I'm rambling here. I need to get off.
Okay.
But I appreciate it, and go Noles. Hopefully
Go
JT
Noles.
gets better soon. Love that kid.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you,
good
JD.
night, sir.
Appreciate it. Great call by PATC's own Seminole, JD. Thank you so much. Prayers out to Jordan Travis. Minor setback for a big-time comeback for the quarterback of the Florida State Seminoles, Jordan Travis. Mireya Flugar, the moderator of Peek Around the Corner, the one who rules with an iron fist, the wife, Mireya Flugar. Greg, say hi to the Kings family. Hi, Kings family. How y'all doing? I know Kevin and his wife are in the country. Congratulations on your new baby. I guess she's got blonde hair. Congratulations. Good job. Excellent. Okay. How is Alabama playing better than Texas? They're not. Texas should be ahead of Alabama in the ratings, unless Texas lose. Give us a call, 763-260-1333. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. We can come up live anytime. We can drop a new episode anytime. So make sure you get notified. Smash the like button if you like our content. If you don't, give us a thumbs down and let me know in the comment section how we can improve the content for you. And again, for those, we announced this yesterday. Again, for those who are interested, we are providing more content, extra content, college footballs, cloak and dagger, early peak. Early peak membership. We're going to be dropping early peak episodes here soon. We're going to be covering even more college football. We're going to be dropping a little bit of nuggets of information before anybody else on those episodes.
Call from
Tazbo.
The floor is yours. I'm sorry, I didn't get the name.
Tazbo.
Tazbo, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing great, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing good.
Good deal. You asked a couple of questions, Big 12 and West Virginia. West Virginia, a few shows back, I tried to get through. Couldn't. Busy as you usually are, which is a good thing.
Yes.
First question you asked today is how we felt about Cam Rising coming into the Big 12 next year. We could not be happier. One thing the Big 12 doesn't like is excuses. When Utah comes in and gets their tail kicked week after week, we don't want no excuses from them.
All right. That's good. That's good. No excuses. If Cam Rising is playing, no excuses from Utah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you asked the other day about how West Virginia fans felt about courting Jimbo Fisher. this is one West Virginia fan that don't want no part of Jimbo Fisher.
All right.
I mean, you think about what he had at A&M. He had the best of everything, the best recruits that money could buy, the best facilities, everything he had, he couldn't win. In West Virginia, you got to be able to do more with less.
Yes, sir.
Than anywhere in the country. And we need coaches who can do more with less, not less with more. And as far as Neil Brown goes, I'm all for giving him another year. He's accumulated quite a squad. Most of our breakout stars this year have been freshmen, redshirt freshmen, and sophomores. So, I mean, it's up and coming. He inherited a empty shelf there from Dana, and he's slowly put it all back together. You know, I know we could use the DC, but that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. Now, Garrett Green's coming back. Is he the starter next year?
Oh, yeah, he's coming back.
Okay, so Nico Marcio is still not going to get the reins next year then?
No, he's not ready. You'll notice they put him in the last quarter last week when we were blowing out. I got a brain block here. But anyway, first thing he did is get in and throw another interception. He's going to be good. Don't get me wrong, but he's got a lot of growing to do. He needs to sit and learn. Another year wouldn't hurt him at all. He's got all the skills in the world, but he's too quick to make bad decisions, and we can't have that.
Now you guys are going to lose a little bit of your offensive line from this year.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. That's the biggest hole we've got to fill. We're like an old Florida State. We got all the quality pieces coming back in here, and we're going to build the interior. So
Yeah.
And speaking of Florida State, I was talking to a couple of fans. And they were filling me in on some of the Jimbo issues, and they were telling me after his divorce, he's made a few bad life decisions, which is not here nor there. I just wish my West Virginia fans would take notice a little bit and quit beating that drum, because we don't need another Dana in Morgantown.
Yeah.
We've had that already. It didn't go well.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I got tonight. I just thank you and keep up the good work.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mountaineer. Beautiful. Getting calls from all over the country. I have to now we play this music when we're doing the watch parties. We're having a great game. We're covering a great game. It's too bad that I could not play this music yesterday because the Buckeyes were blowing out my beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers. So I could not play this music. And Maria knows that. She felt bad for me. So now she wants me to play the music for her friends, the Keens family. So let's play a little bit of it. Unfortunately, you could not play this yesterday because the Gophers lost 37-3. 37-3. Okay, PATC's internationally known. We do have a little bit of an international flavor.
Call from
Moen.
Moen is on the line. Mr. Buckeye, the floor is yours.
Well, Greg, I just wanted to let you know you can play that music. It was a great game yesterday. Absolutely fantastic. Although I don't think anybody knows how to pronounce that kid's name who's your quarterback.
Kaliak Manis. I know. I don't want to. I hope nobody has to figure out how to pronounce his name next year. I hope we make it. We got a lot of problems. Anyways, go on.
Well, I want to say congratulations to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They get to maintain their independence for at least 5 more years. And I hope they enjoy that new ACC that's so watered down. Because if Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, and Virginia bounce. Who's the power in that conference outside of Notre Dame?
I don't know.
You're going to tune in to see that exciting Notre Dame-Syracuse matchup. I think you would say Pitt would be the obvious choice there, but with Pat Narduzzi as the coach, I wouldn't put Pitt up there.
Yeah.
I might say, Greg, I'm just saying, Georgia Tech's looked strong this year. Georgia Tech may be the new power in the ACC. But yeah, it's disappointing. Obviously, we would like to have Notre Dame join us this go around, but that's fine. There's always going to be a slot open for them. But I think that moving forward, we should stop letting USC plan. Or Notre Dame always has to play USC at USC.
Yeah, I don't know. Has there been any public official reports or announcements? What is the plan going forward for USC Notre Dame? What's the plan? Are they going to continue that, or what's? I can't. Man, it's going to be difficult for USC to keep scheduling that game because they're going to want to do another out-of-conference game that's going to be difficult from time to time. The Big Ten schedule is going to be wicked. I don't know.
Well, Notre Dame could always pay us for the privilege. Or NBC could kick in a couple extra 20, maybe 30 million a year, cover the cost of that if they really want that game to continue.
Yeah.
But it's not in our conference benefit. It's not in USC's benefit to continue to schedule that.
No.
So they can play Stanford and Cal. That's what USC could schedule that cupcake.
Yeah.
Maintain those rivalries. So as to the ACC, SEC, I still have hope that North Carolina and Virginia make it into the Big Ten. I think those are the two, speaking to Bob Thompson last week, those are the two he mentioned.
What he mentioned North Carolina?
I asked him, assuming Notre Dame is a definite, who he thinks, because he thought the Big Ten would top out at 20. He didn't think anybody would go beyond 20. So I asked him the question and defend his choice, and his two choices were, assuming Notre Dame joined, but North Carolina would be number one, Virginia would be number two. And he just felt it was more of a cultural fit for both those programs to be in the Big Ten as opposed to Florida State or Clemson. So that was his thinking. Whether or not that becomes a reality, that's, he wasn't saying that was going to become a reality, but I put him on the spot, and that was his choice. It was North Carolina 1, Virginia 2.
Yeah.
So I still have hope for that. SEC can have Clemson and Florida State, but we can't lose out on North Carolina. Got to have North Carolina.
I think that's probably the number one target, but it's probably the number one target for the SEC as well. So
that's
that
fine,
or Florida
that's one
State.
We got to fight them on. If we got to sweeten that pot, however we got to sweeten it, we got to get North Carolina. We got to get North Carolina in the fold.
Yeah. Well, there's been talks. That's all I can say at this point. Indirect talks.
Yes. Yeah, indirect talks. So I just wanted to call and say that, Greg, and go ahead and say it's official. It's F Michigan week, so F Michigan.
The game next Saturday.
The game next Saturday. Let's see how many more coaches get fired before then. how many more, and see if we can finally nail down who Uncle T is. Because, the one guy swears it's not him, although he knows everything about it, apparently.
Yes.
It's not him, but he's had direct contact. He knows how this is paid for.
He's talked to Connie Stallions after it's been all done. Yeah.
Yeah. For a guy who it isn't, that seems kind of odd. But, oh, well.
Yeah.
Penn State dropped the ball, but we're going to pick it up. We're going to beat those guys this weekend. We're gonna set things right, put Michigan arrogance back in check for another couple decades.
Sounds good. I just want to let you know. The Buckeyes 37, Golden Gophers 3. And I don't think I've ever been as hot going after my coach. What?
I tuned into the live stream after it was up 37-0.
I was so hot at Fleck for punting twice. 4th and 5.
Yeah.
At the Buckeyes 40 and 42 yard line. You are 4 touchdown underdogs. You've got no shot. None. 0. What are you doing? I can't do it. I cannot do it because I'm gonna kill over. What are you doing punting?
I will. Greg, he is a Jim Tressel disciple. And you know how Jim Tressel coached. Run.
I'm okay with us being a conservative football program because it falls in line with the talent that we can get. Offensive line, we are going to be a running team. I get all that. I get it. I understand it, but because we can't get the talent at wide receiver and quarterback. I get it. But you cannot punt it on 4th and 5 when you're actually on the Ohio State side of the field. You can't. When's the next time you're going to cross the 50 against the Buckeyes? You're probably not going to be able to do it again. So you got to go for it on 4th and 5. I'm still hot. I am so hot. I don't understand what it's one thing to be conservative. It's the other thing to just turtle up, and not give you guys it. Look, I got a shot to the heart on that. I can't imagine what the Gopher players. How can they have confidence in themselves when the coach absolutely has no confidence in them? Thank you for letting me vent to you, Mr. Buckeye. Congratulations on the big win.
Take solace in the fact they got to cross the 50 when they changed sides when the quarter ended.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Go Bucks.
Go. Great call. Ohio State. Ohio State versus Michigan, big game. Of course, Wisconsin, Minnesota, the battle for the axe. You got Florida State. You got Louisville versus Kentucky. I think Louisville, Kentucky is a 12 noon Eastern time game. And then I think it's 7 o'clock Eastern time. I think it's Florida State, Florida. So you're going to be able to see Louisville, Florida State. How does Florida State backup quarterback look? Can Louisville, we'll see what both teams look like heading into the ACC championship game. Of course, you got Michigan, Ohio State. Iowa's waiting for the winner. Iowa's going to be playing Nebraska. Nebraska has to beat the Hawkeyes to finally get to a bowl game the first time in 7 years. You've got Alabama and Georgia gearing up. Alabama, Auburn. Georgia, you've got great weekend of action next weekend. Who's going to be getting to the Big 12 championship game? Next weekend is going to be a lot of fun. The only depressing thing about it is it's the last week of the regular season. Now, will I do a watch party for the game for Ohio State and Michigan? I hope I can do it. I know the wife has a Saturday engagement, and I've got to make sure She can get there, get back, everything. I'm going to do all I can to do a watch party, Buckeyes, Wolverines. I'm going to do all that I can. And if I can, of course, that's the game I'm doing. That's the game I'm doing. Anyways, real quick, before we get to the last round of phone calls and comments, if you're new to the channel, if you're new to Peek Around the Corner, College Football's Peek Around the Corner, make sure you subscribe to our channel, smash the like button if you like our content, share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you want to support this channel with a donation, super chat, hit the $ in the comment section, put a comment, we'll get to your comment as soon as possible. We're also doing a new videos, college football's early peak. This is early peak, a membership, early peak membership. Membership only videos. We're going to be dropping a little bit of negative information from time to time. You're going to be the first ones to hear the information. We're also going to be doing talks in college football, things that we don't get to talk about here on the live show, on our episodes and our watch parties. We're going to be talking about recruiting, stadium innovations, FCS football. The FCS playoffs are coming. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff at the college football's early peak. It's coming. It's coming. And that is with an early peak membership, $5.99 a month, just one level membership. We're not taking any content away. We're not losing anything here at College Football's Peek Around the Corner. We're adding an episode early peak. It's going to be dropping from time to time during the month. Membership only videos, early peak. It's going to have a little bit of a different tone to it. We're going to be talking. It's going to be increasing the bandwidth of what we talk about in college football, but most specifically, what we talk about in the Holy Smokes Theater and other things. We're going to be dropping at the early peak first. We're going to be dropping the little bit of nuggets first, and then the next live show we're going to be expanding upon it. So if you're interested, early peak membership, and we're going to get to the point where people can buy memberships, gift memberships for other people in the PATC community once I figure out how all that works. Will the membership program still get notifications from YouTube? I believe so. That's how it's supposed to work. That is how it is supposed to work. We shall see. We'll keep an eye on that, Mr. Brooks. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. It was a Sunday afternoon live show here at Peek Around the Corner. I want to thank you all for coming in. I appreciate it. We talked about the Notre Dame NBC deal. We talked about Pittman, head coach of Arkansas. He's staying. Dino Babers, Syracuse head coach. He got fired. So who's going to be Syracuse next head coach? Jerry Kill, New Mexico State? Probably not. Probably not. But we talked about a lot of things here. Get ready for this week. Dramatic things behind the scenes happening in college football as we head towards the last regular season weekend of the 2023 football season. The last weekend of regular season football before we hit the college football playoff expansion of 2024. It's going to get crazy. It's going to get nuts. I cannot wait to see what happens. Tomorrow, Tom Allen of Indiana. What happens? Chip Kelly, UCLA. Is he going to be staying? We're going to find out a lot of things tomorrow, Monday, so stick with us here. We're going to be producing episodes and early peak episode, the first one to drop for members only. Thanks for coming on in. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, Peek Around the Corner, to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.